Welcome back to another exciting Project Zomboid mod showcase. I'm your host, King Gecko, and today, Mr. Mod and I have a very special treat for you. Mr. Mod has compiled a list of his favorite mods from the past year, and is now ready to present the final and comprehensive best mods of 2023 list that you need to check out. These mods are guaranteed to make your apocalypse experience more fun, more challenging, more immersive, and more awesome. Whether you want to drive a tank, or fly a helicopter, maybe explore new maps, customize your character, fight different enemies, explore new mechanics, there's a mod in this video just for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the mod show. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe for more content from Project Zomboid. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's get started. Welcome to Canada. Lost Province is an awesome new standalone map mod, which faithfully recreates Prince Edward Island in Canada. Every city and every town on the map is recreated in detail, and it does look amazing, let me tell you. The island itself is rather large, with 4 different spawn points. You can choose either to spawn in the rugged forests of the east, or you can choose one of the 2 spawns located in the center and west in the more urbanized part of the map. The one I find personally the coolest is the 4th spawn point, washed up ashore. This option lets you spawn at a random point anywhere along the shoreline of the whole island, which like I said is rather large, so you're going to spawn randomly anywhere. And you get to RP as a shipwrecked survivor, which is pretty fun in my opinion. This is a really cool mod. It has a nice flavor compared to the normal map in Kentucky. I'm a big fan of island maps, especially. Something about that just seems especially scary with zombies about being trapped on an island, so it ups the tension for me at least. This is a really cool one. I suggest you all check this out. Have you ever been playing Project Zomboid and wished, man, I wish this game was more like Tetris? Or maybe you want to see all your bags and all your items at one glance. Or maybe you just want to search containers before you loot them. Well, if you answered yes to any of these, then this next mod, Inventory Tetris, is the right one for you. This overhauls the inventory system and weight and item system entirely in the game. It's going to replace the default system with a grid-based one. So now all your items have a size, and you can drag and drop them across your inventory. The weight is no longer, it's just about the size now. So how many grids does that item take up? And can it fit in here? This is an interesting way to do things because, different bags will have different sizes, different pocket sizes. The backpacks especially, I'm a big fan of how they did in this because they have 2 pockets on the outside, 1 pocket on the front, and then the main pocket. It's just like how a normal backpack would be. It makes more sense to me, and I feel like it's a decent constraint. You're not able to carry, big items in your pocket anymore. You need to have a backpack, or you need to put it on your back, or carry it in your hands. So you're going to require some more strategic, item picking whenever you go on a run. If you want to be able to loot, you're going to need to bring enough space to carry things back with you. It makes it a lot more like State of Decay almost with their grid based, but this one is more about the sizes of the items. This is a really nice mod though. I really enjoyed it in the time I played with it. I can't believe I waited back basically all year before I tested this out. I don't like Tetris. I know. Everybody likes Tetris. I don't like Tetris. So as soon as I saw Inventory Tetris, I was like, no, that's not for me. Funny enough, it's actually exactly for me. This mod is really fun. Definitely want to check this out, guys. And yet another mod that I waited way too long to give a shot, and I am now in love with, Equipment UI. This mod changed the game for me, genuinely. As you can see here, you have a character panel that shows your equipment and your loadout, what you're wearing. Your items, they do not take up weight here, thanks to the Inventory Tetris, all of the mods, which pairs well with this. I would use all these together personally. But this is great because you can now equip and unequip items just by dragging and dropping them to your character on your Equipment UI screen. It's really nice. It lets you see what you're wearing at a glance. It lets you see your hotbar. You can right click on them to swap, like with my Boonie hat. I can swap it from around my neck to on my hat. Really nice. I'm a big fan of this. It makes everything so much easier. I don't have to scroll through every single item I'm carrying to get to my my clothes anymore. If I need to rip a sock to make a bandage, now you can just do it really easy. So this is awesome. This mod really, out of all of the QLL mods that I've ever played with, this one is the best. It really ups the game and it makes it a lot easier to play. 10 out of 10. Up next we have a great QOL mod, Grab and Drop. This is really nice for those of us who like to use secondary duffel bags or backpacks or whatnot for looting and loot runs. Now you have a hotkey defaulted to E for picking items up, and for putting them down it's defaulted to Shift E, but you can change it to whatever you want. Really nice. This lets you at a moment's notice pick up, drop things. Really great, because one of the problems for me, at least, when I'm trying to loot and I'm trying to get as much as possible, I'll have all these bags equipped in my hands. You don't have hands open for weapons. So if you get ambushed, you're kind of at a loss. But with this now, it's really easy to just drop them out of your hands, pull your weapon out, get to town, pick them back up, and go on your way. I love this mod. 10 out of 10. Up next, we have Rain Cleans Blood. This is a really cool mod. It does what the title suggests. Rain will clean the blood. It doesn't do it off the player though, but it does it off the world at least. Unless I'm maybe missing a setting somewhere, but it cleans it off the world, which is good enough for me. I really like this mod. As you can see, we're really bloodying up this area quite a bit. The rain's gonna clean it up for us. I don't know about you, but I personally don't like walking through areas and they are like blood splattered from like 2 weeks ago, a horde that I fought. This eliminates that entirely, as long as you're getting rain. It's nice, it makes sense, it's more immersive, which I'm always a fan of. Anything that makes this already immersive game more immersive is going to be really fun, so I'm gung-ho for it. Make sure to give this one a shot. The next mod on our list is a really fun one and quite immersive, Functional Appliances. This adds functionality to several of the appliances and other cooking machines that you'll see throughout the game, like the popcorn machine, hot dog machine, soda fountain, bar taps and kegs, wall clocks, food display counters, a lot more. I mean, this mod is really cool and gets updated pretty often, so who knows what else we'll see next. For popcorn machines, this lets you put popcorn in, popcorn packets specifically, and then you'll get popcorn out. You also have a soda fountain that's operational now. You can get water from it, or if you put soda syrup packets into the counter that it's standing on, then you can get actual soda out and with a cup or a bottle, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of different flavors here, so you may as well collect them. Do something with the apocalypse, right? We also have hot dog machines, which if you put in sausages and sliced breads into the counter below the machine, it will put out hot dogs, which is pretty nice. And these will never burn because of the hot dog machine. And my favorite part about this, though, is got to be the bar tap and keg. If you get a bar tap or a counter that has a bar tap on it, like here, and you put a keg underneath that, inside of that counter, you can actually pour beer from the tap into a mug, a cup, a bottle, whatever you want. It's pretty awesome. So you could realistically run a bar. Like if you were in a multiplayer server, you could realistically start up your own bar. And I'll add a couple mods that let you brew your own beer, and then you've really got your own craft brewery. This mod is really fun, and like I said, very immersive, so you already know I'm a fan. I highly suggest checking it out. Up next, we have Item Stories. This is a really cool mod, which helps make the game world feel so much more alive and immersive and just lived in. So what this Item Stories mod does is it adds items randomly to all kinds of different locations in the game, whether they're offices, houses, stores, supermarkets, whatever they might be. It adds all kinds of different items, whatever would be relevant to find in that building. So what you're going to find is in warehouses, you'll get like pallet crates, things like that. In a bedroom, you'll find on the bed things like pillows, blankets. You'll find clothing, maybe on the floor, maybe on the bed, maybe on a wardrobe or something. You'll find things like in the laundry room. You'll find dish soap, things like that. It's really awesome. It makes everything feel a lot more real, because walking around through like infinite, empty houses that have everything neatly tucked away in their cupboards is not real life, at least not for me. So this makes it seem much more realistic, and it's kind of nice too to never know what you're going to stumble across. I like this mod a lot. I recommend you check it out and all of its submods. And the next mod on our list is a wild one. This is Forklift, which adds a fully operational forklift to the game that you can drive and move whatever you need to move with it. This is pretty crazy. I don't know who asked for this, but I kind of like that we have it. You can finally fulfill all your warehouse and logistics RP needs So that's great. The model looks really good, in my opinion at least, and it has a freaking 3 setting light bar, or I guess warning light for this technically, but I wasn't expecting that. That's an extra detail that we didn't need, but it feels so nice to have. But anyways, so this is great. You can move it, your items around with this. You need to uninstall and reinstall the containers from the vehicle mechanics page. I bring that up because it took me a minute to figure it out. It wasn't really clear in the description for the mod, but it makes sense how to do it now. So to add containers, you will install a piece, and you'll see there's like water containers, there's random item containers. But if you make it to your destination safely, assuming, you can unload all your items by uninstalling the containers. This is a pretty nice mod. I had fun with it, and anything that lets you do more interesting RP things is fun for me. And up next we have plumbing. Plumbing is a mod that lets you plumb, as you might expect. It's pretty cool though, because it lets you build a full pipe network from a body of water to your base in order to plumb water into your building, which is really nice because you might have irrigation needs, you might have drinking water needs, laundry. You never know what your water needs are going to be, and this lets you actually build like a pipe network and power it and run it and even filter it if you have charcoal, so that it's drinkable. So this is pretty cool. It works well. You need to have some metal working skill. You need to have some metal components in order to build it. But as long as you have power and you have the skills to build it, this baby will work, man. And I love the addition though of the charcoal filter that you can add in. Like I mentioned before, making the water drinkable and like filtering it before it goes to your sink. Very nice. And I can see this being really useful for anyone who's trying to build maybe a faraway farm and irrigate it, especially. No more back and forth trips. Up next, we have several more of the excellent Nomad start scenarios. These include the mobile command van and the 92 Crown Vic police interceptor, which these are both very cool vehicles already. The mobile command van will have an interior available if you use the interiors mod, the additional submod. The police Crown Vic doesn't have any interior, but it's a pretty nice car, and if you're a nomad, you use what you can get. You can't be picky. My favorite has to be the command van. You know me, I like a good RV interior, and this has a pretty cool looking one. It's got 2 separate rooms inside of it. One is kind of a workstation, and then the other is a bathroom. It's pretty nice though. I'm a fan, and this mod, these always end up making it on these lists, these start scenarios, and for good reason. I like a good way to start out with a unique scenario and a unique setting for challenge purposes, roleplay purposes, or just for fun. So these are always great. I recommend checking these out. There's another that I don't have shown here, which is the Harley Davidson start scenario, which is also pretty cool. So if you like bikes more, you could check that one out too. Up next, we have a really, really useful mod that I have gotten a ton of use out of since I downloaded it. It's called Take Any Amount. That means that if you have a stack of items, whether it's 3 items, whether it's 300 items, right? By right-clicking it, there will be an option that says Grab Amount. Now you can take a number that you type in, just that quantity. So say you only want 5 out of a stack of 300. Just type in 5, hit enter, boom, you've got 5. It's really good too because you can do it on the loot side or on the inventory side. So whether you're trying to bring things out of your backpack, like say maybe you only want to take out a few boxes of ammo and you have like 10 boxes, you can take out just 2 instead of doing drag and drop. And next up, I want to talk about better placement. This mod is really, really useful for those of us who like placing items, decorating your base, putting things where they should go. Well, this lets you do it in a much easier and more effective way than you could in vanilla. So this gives you the ability to, with the Z key, you can move up or down in height for the item. If you hold shift, it'll do the inverse of whatever command it is. So shift Z goes down, Z goes up in height. You can also move rotating the item just like usual. So now you can fully control where this item goes in space in the game. This is really nice for setting up walls. And I also want to highlight the awesome search containers mod. This has saved me a lot of time already. Just being able to search in your inventory or in a container that you're looting or going through. Maybe it's like the giant container at your base that you dump all of your random stuff in from loot runs. Well, now you can actually find that one random, weapon attachment or that one random hat you were looking for. Just type it in. The results will always come at the top. So go to the top. And the next mod on our list is called Extra Gun Slot. What this mod does is adds a extra gun slot to the belt of your character. You need to be wearing a belt, and what this does essentially is it acts as a gun in your belt loop, like in your lower back of your belt loop. I like this. It makes sense. I mean, it is something you can do in real life. I don't think you should need a holster in order to have a pistol or a handgun, on your belt. So I like this. And up next we have the map mod Dirkerdam. This is a huge map, like over 300 cells, huge map, and still constantly being updated. This has been the mod creator Daddy Dirk's 300 plus cell monster, and it just keeps growing, and I'm all here for it. So far we have the main city center, we have a little town off to the west, a failed settlement to the east, and to the south we have rural fields, kind of a more town versus city feel. This is a nice mod because it's got a lot of diversity to the landscape, to the buildings. We have cool canals, we have a cool port, plenty of farms in the south. It really has it all, and it's got a bridge, at least 2 bridges I believe actually, connecting it back to mainland Kentucky, so easy to come to and fro. If you've not tried this map yet, make sure to check it out. And if you've not played in a while, check it out again. It's been recently updated. Up next is another mod that is wildly popular that I slept on forever, basically. Lifestyle Hobbies. Specifically here we're showcasing the musical instruments hobby, which lets your character play a range of musical instruments. I believe there's over 10 different instruments you can play. There's tons of additional mods for lifestyle music that add different music tracks for different instruments your character can play. I'm using a few here, but again, the options are potentially limitless. If you know how to make it yourself, at least, you can use the example add-on, add whatever music you want. But if you're not very tech savvy in that regard like I am, there's plenty of good stuff out there you can just download and then play. Granted, Mr. Mod is a virtuoso. He has the virtuoso trait, and he also has maxed out skills, so he's going to be a pretty good player, but when you first get started, you probably won't have as fine-tuned a hand as Mr. Mod. But as you can see, this is a ton of fun, this mod. It's going to be great if you're playing with friends, even if you're just solo. It's nice to be able to let your character let off some steam, reduce boredom, and it's nice too. It's another skill to grind out and find loot for. It gives a nice mini-game feel to it. And this isn't the only thing Lifestyle has. It actually has a couple other features, but one I want to point out here is meditation, which is really interesting because your character can relax by meditating. You have to sit on the ground and he can meditate and gain skill in this, which is pretty fun. Anything that gives you more mini games, I'm a big fan of. Up next we have a double whammy. That is gun shop counters, as you see here, and guns of 93, as you also see here, atop said counters. Well, the counters are kind of self-explanatory, but the guns of 93, that sure isn't. So let's get into that. This means that over 100 different guns, that's right, over 100 different guns are added to the game. These are guns that historically and realistically would be available in the year 1993, which is when Project Zomboid is supposed to take place. I'm all for historical accuracy, historical immersion in things like this. And I also like weapon packs, so as soon as I saw this, I got excited. There's a ton of cool things here, but my favorite has got to be the Python. Excellent. The reload sound is great, and it looks clean, the model. Makes you feel like Rick Grimes, don't it? First up, we have one of the coolest mods I've seen in a while, Climb Wall. This lets you climb up one-story walls. This is crazy. I never thought we could do this in Project Zomboid. All you have to do is hold down E while you're approaching a one-story wall, and you'll start climbing it. This mod is perfect for exploring new areas, escaping from zombies, or just having some fun. It's a simple but brilliant mod, and it adds a whole new dimension to Project Zomboid, so I really recommend checking it out. You can get it on Steam Workshop or in the link in the description.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
The next mod on our list is also by Chernobyl, and it's called Jump. This mod lets you jump over obstacles, gaps, and even zombies. To jump, all you need to do is start running or sprinting, and then press the jump key, which is going to be the F key by default, but you can switch that. You'll be able to jump distances of up to 3 tiles away. Whether that is between buildings or on the ground is up to you. Just be careful not to jump in water, because if you jump in water, you'll be stuck. You're going to have to either use debug to teleport out, or you'll have to add a cheat mod to teleport yourself out of the water. But either way, I don't see many scenarios where you'd fall into water jumping. Unfortunately, we can't do a cannonball just yet. Alright, the next mod up on our list is Monkey's Start Scenario Semi-Truck Trailer Nomad. This mod lets you start the game with a semi-truck and a trailer of your choice. Now you can finally live out your fantasies of being a doomsday trucker cruising the roads of Kentucky. This mod will add several new traits, which will give you a semi on spawn. You can either get a truck with a trailer or a non-trailer option. You have 2 variants of truck, Peterbilt or Oshkosh. I'm a Peterbilt kind of guy, but they're both pretty awesome. I highly recommend choosing one of the traits that starts with the trailer, because these trailers are so freaking cool. The best part about them is you can go inside using the mod RV Interiors, and you can make it into a full mobile base. All you need to do is go to the back of it, press E to open up the trunk, and then hold down the V button on your keyboard to bring up the radio menu and hit enter. When you're inside, you can customize it with furniture, appliances, any kind of storage, whatever you want really. It's so nice to have this much space. Some of them even have running water. My favorite, though, is the Peterbilt Sleeper, because it has a very awesome feature. If you use the RV Interiors mod, you can actually go inside the sleeper cabin, which is so cool. Once you're inside, you have access to a really cozy room with a bed, some shelves, and a little mini fridge. This is the perfect place for resting up and relaxing after you've had a long day driving on the road. You can also decorate your cabin with other items to make it feel more homey. There's one more thing you can do with the Peterbilt truck, though, that absolutely secures it as my favorite semi-truck in this game. With a high enough metalworking skill and enough metal pipes, bars, and sheets, you can actually transform this truck into the legendary Dead Reckoning from the legendary Romero film Land of the Dead. Yeah, this thing is an absolute beast after you're done. With full armor plating on the front, sides, top, and sleeper cabin, and even with chains on the tires. You can use it to plow through zombies before you retire back to the sleeper cabin for a break and a beer. You can enjoy dominating the roads of Kentucky when you're in this beast. Next up on the list, we have the gorgeous double-decker bus. I mean, this thing looks clean, and it handles quite well, surprisingly, for the size. You can find these in most urban areas, I've noticed, based on the spawn rate. It'll depend on your sandbox settings, of course, but I have mine on normal, and I'm finding quite a lot. So, like I said, very fun to drive. The best thing is, it's super huge. You can pack everything you possibly could need into this, and you're not going to run out of space. When you're inside, you have 2 floors you can walk around on. The first floor has a little driver cabin with a light switch for the whole bus, and then there's some really nice looking double doors near the exit area, but you can exit from pretty much anywhere. I really like the space you get here with the verticality. I think it's interesting to be able to have one level for like the bedroom and storage, and then the other level for your armory and your crafting station and things like that. I think you can do some really interesting designs with this kind of space. It's different than the trailers on the semi-trucks. Those are long. This is long and tall, so you get the best of both. Now, if you've been eyeing that nice hat that Mr. Mod has this whole video, well, you're in luck, because the next mod on our list is Boonies Give Me Booners, and as you would suspect, it adds quite a lot of boonie hats, including the one that Mr. Mod is rocking right now. So if you're looking for some new headwear to spice up your apocalyptic outfits, then look no further. You're going to have several new types, colors, and camos of boonie hats that you can find in the world, and you can wear them, put them on mannequins, collect them, covet them. So these are really popular hats among outdoor enthusiasts and military personnel if you're not aware. They look pretty cool. You can wear them on your back or on your head. That's my favorite part about this mod. I love wearing it on the back. It's a cool little look. And there's also 16 new camo patterns here, along with netting that can be crafted for each one. So you can customize to your heart's content. It's a situation we've all been in before. You have a car that you need to move. Well, thanks to this next mod, Out of Gas, you can actually push a car now. I'm loving all of these, physical, interactive mods that are coming out for Zomboid lately. Really let you interact with the world. All you'll need to do to use this mod is go up to any vehicle, you'll click it, and you'll see push vehicle. The context menu is a little wonky. You have to click in just the right spot to get it to show up, but it's like the center of the car usually. You can select front, back, side. You can use this to clear out roads. I mean, I've had tons of situations where I needed to clear out vehicles, but they don't have gas, and I don't want to just fill it up enough to move out of the way. That's a pain. So now finally you can actually push a car like normal. This is also probably going to be really easy for blocking entrances to your base with vehicles. It's going to be way easier than filling them all up with gas and making a wall of cars. Now you can actually just push vehicles wherever you need them. So I'm loving this mod. I think it's really cool and a great idea. Alright, the next mod we have up is called Hive Mind. This is a really cool mod. So let me show you a bit of a demonstration on how it works. As you can see here, I'm placing 2 sets of 50 zombies each into the woods. This makes a total of 100 zombies in the woods. What I'm now going to do is go to the opposite side of this clearing, spawn 1 zombie, and turn off ghost mode. So I'll now be visible to the zombies. What's going to happen is this 1 zombie is going to telepathically communicate with that whole group of 100 and tell it where I'm at. So now they're going to come flooding out of the woods towards me because this single zombie sees me. That's the scary and beautiful thing about Hive Mind. Every zombie has the same field of view. You can't escape them. If even one sees you, every other zombie within a certain radius does see you as well.
Your location has been compromised.
That's a terrifying thought. I'm in the woods right now. Imagine in a city like Louisville or Raven Creek, how terrifying that will be. You can't escape them at that point. I don't even know a valid strategy about how to actually deal with this. So, I'm going to have to try this mod out at some point for a challenge run. We'll see how that goes. Man, I really could use a place to hide from all these zombies that can see my location now. Well, this next mod, Hide, by Braven, comes in perfect. All we need to do is find a hiding place. Right-click it and select Hide. Once you're inside, you won't be able to see anything or hear anything. You won't know anything that's going on outside of your hiding hole. There might be zombies. Who knows what's going on? The house might be on fire. You've got no clue. You'll be stuck there in the dark until you choose to leave. Eventually, you're going to get so many debuffs that you're going to have to get out. But you can only hope it's safe when you leave. And if it's not, you better be prepared to run. Alright, the final 2 mods on our list are also by Chernobyl. He's made some awesome mods. They all play really well together. I highly recommend you get at least one, if not all of them. Crawl lets you crawl under vehicles. We also have Dash, which allows you to do a combat roll essentially, like a dodge, and you can move around zombies quite easily with this. I mean, you can go behind them, you can dodge out of their way if they're lunging towards you. It's very useful, as well as moving quicker. When combined with jump, you can do some kind of crazy gymnastics basically around the zombies. They don't really have a way to combat it, as you can see. Really though, you probably want to bring it up to sprinters or add some other kind of intense challenges. Eventually though, you will get fatigued and you're not going to be able to do it forever. So there is some bit of balance there, I guess, but that's up to you how challenging you'd like it to be. I had quite a lot of fun with these though, and I think you'd be just fine playing it on vanilla settings. Just be aware it will be a little bit easier, especially if you take full advantage of it. But you could do it in a balanced, lore-friendly way where you just use it in areas where it makes sense, and that would be just fine. I don't really think that would ruin the immersion or the balance. In fact, it would probably add to it. Welcome back to Project Zomboid for another exciting edition of Best Mods of 2023 with Mr. Mod, of course. We've got some awesome mods today, so let's dive right on in. The first one up is the Cordyceps zone. You know, you might be familiar with this from The Last of Us. All this adds is the ability for Cordyceps buildings to spawn. You can adjust the spawn rate in sandbox options, and that's going to make these little zombie body corpses show up in buildings, indicating it is an infected zone. Basically, you can't be in there unguarded. Otherwise, you're going to get infected, you're going to get sick, and you're going to die. It's only a matter of time. So the way this mod works is, anytime you enter a non-player built building for the first time, there will be a chance, depending on your sandbox options, for that building to be infected by Cordyceps and be a spore zone. And like I said earlier, the longer you're in there, the weaker you get. You're going to start coughing, getting nauseous, getting sick, and eventually you will die. So you got to be careful. You can't spend too much time in here without protection. So as you can see here, we were only in the building unmasked for about 30-40 minutes. That's not really that long. And we're already almost dead. So pretty dangerous stuff. You really need to be prepared, which is great because we can wear gas masks actually and go inside of these Cordyceps buildings just fine. Not every gas mask works. I'm using the Brita's gas mask here. Only one option from Brita's armor pack didn't work. I tested them all. I don't remember the exact name of it, but you know, most of them worked. So vanilla gas mask also works just fine, and I would suspect any other gas masks from other mods would work just as well. So should be no problems there. The next mod on our list is Zombies Hear Your Microphone. This mod is awesome, you guys. This is something I've been wanting for a long time in this game. Watch. It doesn't work when you're crouched. Hey guys! That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. Alright, wait. Let's redo that. Funny enough, it actually even works with ghost mode activated. Like, they'll still hear my microphone, see, and come on over here. Even though they can't see me, they hear me. But if I'm crouched, they actually don't hear the microphone. I actually thought the mod wasn't working at first. They have to be like right next to you, I think, when you're crouched. It must be a whisper. Hey guys. What's up? Oh my god, that's great. That is great. Brilliant. This is the mod we needed. Now it's finally like Saints and Sinners. This is great. Come on guys, let's go. Follow me. The next mod on our list is perfect for anyone who enjoys suffering, which should be pretty much everyone who plays this game, I'd imagine. Thanks to this next trait, Blind Without Glasses, you can spawn with a special set of glasses, which you will be utterly blind and helpless without. And they did just recently update this mod, so you can actually choose if you want vanilla glasses to work or all eyeglasses to work, which is great. So you're not bound to this unique set of glasses anymore, but you can still be if you want. This is really interesting though, the way this mod works. You're basically like Velma without her glasses. Like, you can't forage, you can't read. You'll get the all thumbs trait. Your entire screen is blurry, which is probably the worst part. And it's going to be really hard to find your glasses if you don't know where they went. So, good luck with that. You also need to be careful because sprinting into walls, hitting things, being knocked over by zombies, you're going to drop them. The glasses will break eventually. You're going to need to repair them in order to use them again, because without them, you're going to be completely blind and completely helpless. Basically a sitting duck. So, keep those glasses repaired, keep some duct tape in your pocket, and be careful. Be scared. Next up, we have a mod that, honestly, I wish I had had a long time ago. This is the Out of Breath Moodle. Basically, it does what you think it would. As soon as you become near to being exerted, the first level, you're going to get a new Moodle called Out of Breath. This is really, really useful because I'm sure you've all had situations where you've been fighting, running, doing whatever in the game, and all of a sudden, you have no idea when it's going to happen, and there it is. Worst possible timing. Exerted. Now you actually can kind of plan around your exertion levels, at least a little bit more than before. Like, for instance, if you're about to engage with a horde and you now are out of breath, you might make second thoughts on that. I like this mod quite a bit, and as you can see, it comes up right away, right before you get exerted. You can also adjust when this Moodle kicks in the sandbox options. Up next on the list is quite a lot of mods, actually. So many that I can't even really fit all the names onto the screen here, so you'll have to check the description to see all of them. This is a crap load of vehicle mods, some really cool maps, and, well, vehicle focus maps specifically, and awesome standardized vehicle armor upgrades for all vanilla vehicles, quite a lot of modded vehicles, and more. So, quite a lot to unpack here. So let's get into it. Let's just show off the vehicles first. This shows both vanilla and modded vehicles with the armor and the non-armored variants, and there's two options for armor, so you kind of have some diversity in there. What's really cool is how this mod works. All you need to do is go to the modifications tab on the radial menu, and you can go ahead and start browsing all the different armor plating accessible to that vehicle, and go ahead and start putting it on if you got the skills and the resources. It takes quite a lot of metal resources and metalworking skill though to do this, so not something you're going to be doing the first week probably, but a really cool goal to work up to, especially for people who pick metalworker. You know, makes it a little bit more useful now. You can actually deck out some cars now. As you can see, it's quite simple to install. As long as you got the resources and the skills, you just click the button and your guy automatically installs it. I really appreciated that this mod had two separate variants of armor. Like, they have like a steel flat plate with a little cutout hole for vision, and then they have like just bars, like burglar bar style. I think that's really nice to have the option to choose between the two, because as you can see on some of the cars that I armored up already, I like to mix and match a bit. I'd also like to introduce you all to this lovely map, the Exhibition Circuit. It is essentially just a racetrack, kind of in the middle of nowhere. And it's pretty awesome, let me tell you. This thing is really fun to mess around on. It was great. I spent way longer than shown here just driving around, messing around in different vehicles, having fun on the track. I would like to warn you, however, to be very careful on your turns, because as you'll see here, it's pretty easy to flip. Pretty easy. Could happen to anybody, really. I would like to assure you, however, that Mr. Mod is quite a capable, competent driver. He's very respected behind the wheel. And here's a little bonus feature. I had to show this when I saw the mod, because how cool is this? I mean, SpongeBob's car. Come on, this is crazy. I regret not decking myself out in the full outfit that comes with it. I'll leave that for you guys to discover when you try out the mod yourselves, but yeah, pretty funny. Obviously completely unrealistic, but who doesn't want to try out driving around SpongeBob's car? At least one time. It handles pretty well, surprisingly. Next up we have Braven's nail gun. This is a very interesting mod here, actually. It adds two different nail guns, one tactical, one normal. As you can see, you can use it as a gun. They're pretty low damage though, and it's really probably only going to be more useful for training aiming skill, if anything. Probably even training reloading too. It has like a 300 nail clip, which is huge. I mean, that's probably at least one level up or two of reloading just from the clip. So, easy enough, right? But I kind of enjoy the weapon, not gonna lie. It's fun to use. It's kind of just nice to spam them with a bunch of nails. Obviously, if you have a better aiming skill, this is probably gonna be more effective, but it works just fine even with like zero aiming skill. It's also really interesting because you can use this to barricade with. It'll barricade windows and doors faster than using a hammer would. So if you have the planks and you have the nail gun, you can use this instead of the hammer and it'll go faster. Pretty interesting. Up next, I have two mods to talk about. First is the Rally map, which you can see here. This is a really cool map. I was so shocked to see this only had like 800 subscribers currently on Steam Workshop, because this is a really clean map. I mean, it's really large. There's 4 separate stages on here, so 4 different tracks. They're all pretty unique, lots of challenging turns. I mean, this is a great place to try out the vehicles, man. This and Exhibition Circuit are kind of meant to go together along with the third map, which connects the two. Really, I'm only using Exhibition and Rally right now, but for the full experience, you might want to use all 3. I'll link them all in the description. But this is really nice. I really appreciate this kind of map because it's unique, and we don't really have any kind of map like this before in Zomboid. You know, there's lots of towns, lots of little cities, things like that. We don't really have any racetracks, you know, which is great because the other mod that I like to show off here is better car physics, which is a must-have. I can't believe that I played for as long as I did without this mod. I mean, technically, it came out last year. It was like 2 days before the end of the year. Whatever, I'm putting it on the list. I think it's worth it. And it is. I mean, look at it. You handle so much better. The engine sounds better. You know, better off-road capabilities. It makes for a lot more of a fun drive instead of a, really stressful Project Zomboid type drive. But if you're as bad of a driver as I am, it's still going to be stressful regardless, because you're going to end up there hardly in one piece. So, good luck if you're riding with me. And real quick, I just had to show off how freaking cool is this. I love this door animation, man. This is such a sick car. Awesome work. Awesome mod. And next up we have a small but very cool mod called Sheet Rope Jumping and Climbing. This is pretty cool because, in a vanilla game, you can only go one way down the rope at a time. So if you're on the top of a building like here, you'd be going down and you could be descending into a giant horde and completely get yourself screwed over. Now you actually have the chance to say, oh, never mind, changed my mind, going back up, and immediately reverse direction either way on the rope, which is great. I feel like this is a really useful feature. Obviously the rope can still get broken down, which I had happen to me actually, so be careful, don't take too much advantage of it. There will come after you and get your rope down and you will get bitten. Next up we have Braven's Rappel Kit. This is a very interesting mod, kind of in the same vein as the last one, but very different still. What this does is it lets you create these rappel kits. They're one-time disposable items essentially, and you're gonna probably want to keep at least 1 to 2 of these on you anytime you're gonna be in a multi-level building that's full of undead, because these things are really useful for just a quick escape. Say you don't have nails, you don't have sheet rope, whatever. You don't need them. Like, you just need the one item here, the rappel kit. You don't need to build a fence. You don't need to do any of that jazz. You just need to put the rope down and then descend. You can also tweak it in the sandbox options to let you go back up the rope, which I did already, because I like to be able to go both ways, personally. But if you only want to be able to just rappel down, that's the default setting anyway, so you should be good to go right out the box. Up next, we have BeeArr's BB Guns. This is a very interesting mod here. I love BB guns as a kid, BB guns and airsoft guns and paintball guns. I had a ton of fun with them. I was surprised to see this added to Zomboid, It's an interesting concept. What it basically does is it adds 8 time period and accurate airsoft weapons to the game, additionally with BB ammunition and collectible boxes for each replica, which is a pretty nice touch. So every gun here is going to be unique in accuracy, effective distance, capacity, sound, and reload. So as your skills in aiming improve, that means the accuracy and your effective distance will also improve, which is great because they start off pretty low. And once you get a critical hit too, that'll be a killing blow, so even better. The higher your score goes, the more killing blows you're actually laying with them. But they're not really meant for, taking out the zombies. They're kind of more meant for practicing, or I guess in multiplayer for having fun airsoft wars with each other. But I use them on the zombies, mostly just for training, aiming, and reloading, which is great because the shotgun variant, look at this. It's giving me so much experience from each burst. I was kind of surprised. I don't remember if the normal shotgun gives you this much experience like this. I don't know. Pretty cool though. And moving on, we have Braven's Bicycles mod. This is a pretty fun one actually. I will warn you though, it takes a little bit to get used to how the bike handles, but it's pretty fun honestly. It's really interesting how you can slide around with this thing. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but it's still really fun. And no gas required, all foot powered, so as long as you've got energy, you'll be able to bike. Pretty nice compromise. Now you can actually go all the way across Kentucky on a bike like you always dreamed of. Tour de Louisville. And we've made it to the final mod of the list. This one is an interesting one here. The M4 Sherman Tank by Braven here. This thing is crazy. It has a functional gun. You heard me, a functional gun. I've not seen a vehicle yet in this game that actually had a functional weapon on it, besides a bull bar. This is pretty crazy to me that they were even able to do this, but yeah, it actually works. It doesn't take out a lot of them. You can't aim it. That's fine with me. It works. That's more than any other vehicle I've seen in this game yet. That's crazy. Pretty cool stuff. All you do, be in the 5th seat, which is the Top Gunner seat, and then hit the space bar. It takes a while to reload, but no ammo requirement, at least as of now. Pretty cool stuff. Definitely worth checking out. You can ride around with your buddies in style. First up, we have The Last of Guns. This adds the gun from the game, The Last of Us, specifically Part 1. I like this mod quite a lot. It's very interesting. The guns work differently, so you don't have magazines anymore, so there's no clips. You just load individual bullets into them, which is kind of refreshing after reloading so many damn clips. It's nice to not deal with them anymore, but it does make them easier to use, so keep that in mind. One nice thing though is that you can, on the sandbox options, you can turn off vanilla guns. You can make it so it's just The Last of Us guns. You could basically, I mean, we're getting close to the point where you can make almost like a clone of The Last of Us just within Project Zomboid. And as you can see, these guns, they do quite a lot of damage. Like I would say, it's similar to Britta's, but even more overpowered. Just because it takes almost like no time to reload. As long as you have the bullets and they're not in a box or anything, it's really quick. It's almost like a standard video game reload speed, but in Project Zomboid, which is not really how it usually works. I gotta say though, even though they do make the game easier, I had a lot of fun with these guns from the mod. It's really just a good time. The best part though has to be the flamethrower. This thing is insane. You use propane canisters as fuel. It holds, I think, around 500 units. It's a lot. It's a big tank. Obviously, you could run it through pretty quickly, but if you're using it conservatively, which you don't need to use too much, as you can see, you're gonna make it last. This thing is just so much fun though to use. I spent probably like at least 45 minutes just running around, creating hordes, lighting them on fire. It's really fun. If you're just trying to mess around with some friends or just blow off some steam, I mean, this is a really fun one to go with. It's not probably the best to use for like a serious playthrough, unless you really nerf like the spawn rates of the loot, or you limit how much you can use it, something like that, but I still like it. I think it's really interesting to see, and it seems like they implemented this quite well. It does pretty much everything that I would have expected it to do, and it's just really fun to use. So if you like The Last of Us or flamethrowers, you should probably check this mod out, because it might just be for you. And next up we have Extra Noises 1979 450 SL. This is a replica of the same car manufactured by Mercedes, and Extra Noise, like usual, does a really good job of recreating this vehicle. It is perfect. Pretty clean looking if you ask me. I mean, Mr. Mod sure seems to enjoy whipping around town in it. So it's not like this is really the most practical vehicle to be using. It says as much on the mod description, but it's pretty classy. And sometimes class just outweighs logic, people. You gotta go with the classy move sometimes. So the typical spawn locations that you'll be able to find in this car are going to be in middle upper class areas. Sometimes, occasionally, you'll find them in like a parking lot, randomly, but typically it's going to be more well-off areas of the map. This mod is really nice though, because like Extra Noise, most of his mods, he really cares about making them accurate, especially period accurate, which I'm a big fan of that personally. I know a lot of other people are as well. And, you know, all 6 colors it comes in are all the original colors the car was offered in. I love that. Also, it does have an animated door, hood, and trunk, so pretty awesome. Make sure to check this one out. Alright, the next mod on our list is called Zombies Trip Zombies. This is a mod I had so much fun with during the filming for this video. I mean, it's really... It works well, but it's also really funny the way it looks. And it's great. It's simple. Zombies, they trip zombies. It's pretty straightforward. The name says it all. But it surprised me how much it actually expanded the playstyle. Because it's not just like zombies that fall over that'll be trippable objects, right? Like the bodies of zombies, if you don't clean them up, you know, you can trip over them yourself. It's pretty awesome. It's also really funny watching like a whole line of them get stuck tripping over each other. I mean, I spawned them in the middle of the golf course here and like started kiting them down and pushing just a few over. It left like a whole mass, probably half of them roughly were stuck still near like the start just because they couldn't stop tripping on each other. It was like a mass of snakes or something. And the last thing you want to do is be the newest member of the zombie mosh pit. Let me tell you, that's always going to be a bad decision. As fun as it looks, not very inviting. I would not recommend it. And up next we have a real doozy here by Chernobyl, the Portal Gun. Yes, that's right, the portal gun from the game Portal. Yeah, it looks nice, really great sound effects, and it freaking works. I mean, it actually works. I was kind of surprised to even see this mod offered for this game, to be honest. I would not expect anyone in their right mind to say, you know what Project Zomboid needs is the gun from Portal. But man, am I glad that Chernobyl thought that and decided to make this, because it's kind of a goofy item. There's definitely no serious playthrough that you're going to be using this in, at least none that I could even imagine. It's really more of just a mess around item, but you can have quite a lot of fun messing around with it, as I did here. What I really thought was surprising though is you can long range teleport with this thing. Like, as I show you here, long range teleportation. Look at that, across the map. Pretty damn cool. I mean, realistically, I guess you could make, like, if you're just the laziest player ever, or you really like portals and you don't like driving, you could just make portals between, like, I don't know, your base and then the city you loot at. But that's up to you, you know, play it how you like. Personally, I'm gonna use it just to mess around. And now, there is an option in Sandbox to let zombies be teleported as well. I couldn't really get that to work, not gonna lie. I tried, but I couldn't get it to work. I'm running a lot of mods though, and I didn't really have the time to sort through and figure out which was causing it to not work, so it looks like it works. People in the comments, they make it look like it works, so I would assume it does. Next up, we have Play Ball. This mod is great. You know, I never thought I wanted this in the game, but now that I have it, I don't want to give it up. The ability to, like, hit a baseball or a tennis ball is just too much freaking fun. Like, look at that. You can actually hit the zombies with it. And you can finally play baseball. I mean, this opens up, in my mind at least, so many opportunities for not just, like, wacky combat or, you know, fun mini games you can make up with friends, but, like, you can actually, like, expand upon this even more. Eventually, we're gonna have full Wii Sports arsenal in Project Zomboid. I'm calling it now. You heard it here. King Gecko bets. I also want to highlight the Secret Z Pandemic mod. This just came out. It's kind of a compilation pack of the Secret Z maps that have been coming out for the last little while. I've really liked these maps individually, and so when I saw this come out as an entire package, I knew I had to get it and it had to be on this list. Really, really nice. So what it does is it adds a bunch of different bunkers and then kind of military checkpoint, battlefield type, like, think like World War Z type stuff, right? Like, where you actually see evidence of there being a big military confrontation with the zombies, you know, a big effort at containing it. I think that's great. You actually get that with this mod, and it's really, really fun to explore and see what's new. I also wanted to show you the tennis feature on Play Ball because it's really, really fun as well. If only there was a way to, like, serve back, you know, then you could actually play tennis with another player, but until then, we wait. But yeah, like, this is basically the same features as the baseball. You use different commands, you can adjust the key bindings, but you're going to use different keys on the keyboard to move your trajectory up or down. You can also adjust whether the trajectory lines are shown or not. All of this stuff is actually quite adjustable in Sandbox options, like the trajectory, which bats can be used. Like, if you have a modded bat and you want it to register to be able to play ball with, you can add it on the Sandbox options list so that it works. Really, really nice work. And it does damage to zombies. It does a little bit. You can edit it in the Sandbox, but it actually does some damage. Like, I was able to kill zombies using the tennis racket and tennis balls, which has got to be the funniest way I've ever killed a zombie in this game. And if earlier in the video you might have noticed all of those baseballs around the golf hole here, this would be why. I decided to go try to play golf using Play Ball as best as I could currently. I thought the baseball would work best along with the baseball bat. Maybe tennis would be easier in retrospect because I never got the ball to go into the hole. I got it extremely close, many, many times. Way too many times to count. I actually ended up giving up whenever, like, too many balls were, the 3D objects were, like, crowding out. I couldn't even see the hole anymore. So I gave up. Mr. Mod was a failure there, so he tried his best, but it was not enough. Maybe you'll do better. If you manage to do it, let me know. I would love to see. And next up, we have an awesome map mod called the Louisville Riverboat. This boat is located right along that waterway along the top edge of Louisville. It's kind of in the middle part, roughly. It is an exact copy of the riverboat that the Indie Stone has been building in the kind of, I guess, development area of the map. Kind of out of bounds. There's nothing there currently, but this boat is. And so this mod creator brought the boat over here. Now we can use it as a base, as an area to explore, or just a place to lounge around and enjoy yourself. I mean, it's got 3 stories, so plenty of space. You could realistically make a pretty dope base out in this. If you wanted to, you could block off access so that zombies couldn't get in. It's got just the bridge to get to it. So other than that bridge, there's no connection to the land. So pretty safe relative for this area of Louisville. Probably actually like the safest area you're going to find in this part of Louisville. Just based on natural defense. And it looks really cool too. Like, I really like the columns. It looks like a riverboat to me. And it has that vibe to it as well. Also, this is an interesting fact. The Belle of Louisville is a real steamboat that is in Louisville. It's docked relatively in the same exact location. The mod author, when they copied the Indie Stone boat and moved it over, they tried to locate it basically as close to where the Belle of Louisville would dock as possible. So I think that's really awesome because, you know, if you were to go to Louisville and that the boat was docked there, it wasn't in operation, like you would see it right there. That's pretty awesome. So this is something that I'm glad we have a mod for, because who doesn't want to just live the high life on a riverboat, right? I know Mr. Mod is in. And the next mod on the list is the M998 House Car. It is what it says it is, a house car. House on a car. And you can go inside of it thanks to RV interiors, which I'm a big fan of. If you've watched anything on my channel, you'll know I'm a big fan of that, so had to feature this. This is a nice little car. It's kind of like, to me, it looks like a mix between like a military Jeep with like a box car almost, like what you would see in like a U-Haul truck, which is kind of funny to see, but it works well in the apocalypse. Have a little box on the back you can live in. You can, I would assume you can plumb it just like every other RV interior vehicle. I've not tested it, but I don't see why it wouldn't, seeing as it's just using the standard RV interior rooms. You should be able to do everything you can inside of an RV interior room, which is quite a lot. And while we're inside of the house car, I'd like to go ahead and feature the next mod on the list, the Survivor Backpack, or the Based Backpack. This is a really, really nice looking backpack. In my opinion, it's probably one of my favorite just by design, as well as it's simple, you know, it doesn't really have any frills or bells or whistles. Like, it carries more than the standard large backpack. It looks better than the standard large backpack. You can craft it if you have the requisite skills and resources. All in all, 10 out of 10 bag. I like it. Next on the list is wallpapers and more paint colors. This is a really, really cool mod. I'm a big nerd for any kind of like base design mods. I really like things that expand what you can do, like decoration or building to the base. So as soon as I saw this, I knew I had to check it out, and boy am I glad. This gives you the ability to add wallpaper to, as far as I'm aware, like every single wall in the game. For now, we have interior wallpaper, we have siding you can put on homes, and you can paint. So very, very nice. I am a big fan of this system because you have only like so many white walls in rooms before you start to go crazy a little bit and feel like you're in an insane asylum. Now you can actually paint the wall, put a wallpaper up, do whatever you want with it, really. I mean, the world is your oyster, as long as you got enough wallpaper glue. I think my favorite, though, of the wallpaper patterns has to be the tropical, like, leaf print. I want to, like, have, like, a full-looking Tommy Bahama lounge just in the back of my house car, so that's where I'm going with it. This next mod on the list blew me away whenever I first tried it. I was really, really surprised. It's computer games and command line interface. What this lets you do is actually like use a computer in the game. Like, and I mean really use the computer. So a couple of the things that you can do currently with it, you can open up web pages and actually browse them through the Steam overlay. So like a workshop page or other website, if you have the URL and you copy it and paste it in with open, the command open first, it'll open up the overlay to that, which I think is really, really cool. I didn't even expect to have a feature like that in the game ever, but here it is, you know. Really, really fun to mess around with. You can also play games on it. You can do tons of other things. It's really, really an interesting mod because I feel like you could expand on this quite a bit. This is opening up a whole new framework essentially for people to build on, which makes me quite excited. But another great feature though is you can play games. Like you can play Pong and you can play Asteroids, at least currently. I will warn you, the AI in the Pong game, it is very good. I don't know if he cheats or what, but he feels a little bit too good if you ask me. He's on some performance enhancers perhaps. I don't know. Or maybe Mr. Mod is on some performance dehancers. That might be the problem as well. But either way, I suck at Pong and probably should never play it again. I'm a bit better at Asteroids though. I'll say that much. And then finally, one of the best things about this computer mod, if you are on any multiplayer server, anything that lets you establish a safe house essentially. If you have a safe house and you have this desktop computer in there, you can actually like look up your inventory of all your loot and all the containers in your safe house, at least within that safe house location. It'll show up tabulated on the computer. Like you can search and find whatever you need item-wise, like see how many bullets you have left, see how many bandages, whatever. I mean, that's really nice. That's like another level of inventory management that like has never been possible in this game before, really. I feel like that would be really helpful too for like a larger server with lots of people playing. You all share a safe house. Now, I haven't tested the inventory management out myself, but I have seen comments saying that it works just fine, so should be good to go. And the next mod on our list is Weather Moodles. This is a really awesome mod. If you've not seen this before, this will add extra Moodles to the Moodle bar on the side of your screen that are going to indicate the weather. So you'll have fog, rain, sunshine, and cloud cover. Pretty awesome. You'll also have wind if it is a windy day. So it's really nice to use. I feel like it complements the already available Moodles for like temperature. So it's great to have a little bit more of an idea what the weather looks like. You kind of already can tell if you really are familiar with the way like the environment looks in Zomboid, the different weather types, but it's still, I mean, that's hard. Even if you know what they look like, that's kind of a lot of work to do. So this just simplifies the whole process, tells you right away what kind of weather conditions you have. It's a really nice mod. I like it, and I recommend you check it out. Up next, we have two mods, Better Placement and the Psyduck Plushie. Psyduck Plushie just because it looks really nice. I like it. Who doesn't like a nice Pokemon plush, am I right? Better Placement because this mod is amazing. You can customize the placement location for any item so much easier with this. If you use the Z key and then Shift Z, you can adjust the height. You can basically position things wherever you want. As you can see here, like you can stack items pretty easily. At some point though, it does get a little hard. There's some clipping between the items. So at a certain height, you can't really stack too much higher, but it still looks quite nice. I like it. It's a pretty good mod. Up next is another awesome map mod. This time, a Rosewood edition. This is the Rosewood Mall. This is something that Rosewood has always needed, in my opinion. It's not, I mean, like, it's a tiny little town, right? Like, you don't have a lot to do once you've been there for maybe a month. With this mall, I mean, this place is huge. It's not as big as any of the other malls in-game necessarily, but it's quite large just on its own. And there's so many stores in here. This really adds to the loot table available in Rosewood. It's another big, high population area besides the prison next to Rosewood to go explore. It'd be perfect for a group with friends, or if you're just trying to do like a solo clear, you could easily do it. It would take some time though. Either way, it's a great place. I recommend checking this mod out. There's no map added yet for it, but it's pretty straightforward of a layout. It's kind of like a big H. And I'm all for mods that add extra malls to Project Zomboid, so this automatically gets a thumbs up from me. Up next we have a double package. This is the RPG7 mod and the RC Explosives mod. You kind of have to play with them both because RC Explosives is like the framework for these explosive effects, and we'll get into that in a minute, but first I want to show you the RPG, because this has been my favorite way so far to use the explosions in RC Explosives. It fires an invisible grenade essentially in that direction. It has its own targeting system, which I found it worked out quite nicely. I really like the arrow. It helped me easily see it, because whenever you're running around and fighting zombies, it doesn't it doesn't always stand out the most, just a little green square. So the arrow helped me. And I gotta say, one of the coolest things is the destructive capabilities of this mod. It's just so cool to be able to shoot at a building and have it be destroyed. I mean, I didn't really think that I was going to be seeing something like that. This is something I expect from Battlefield, not Project Zomboid. So this is crazy to have this. And like I mentioned before, all of this fun stuff under the hood, but the RPG comes from the RC Explosives submod, which has its own explosions as well, as you can see here. It causes chain explosions, so vehicles will chain explode. Yeah, a packed parking lot is now the perfect place to take zombies to if you've got at least one RPG. Good thing I have, like, infinite, so Mr. Mod is going to have some fun in this parking lot. And you can just see here, the chain effect looks really good. My computer is not the best. In fact, it's pretty bad. So the fact that my game didn't crash and that I had, I guess, mediocre to decent FPS, that's a win in my book. If you have even a decent PC, you probably would be able to use this just fine. And it's just so fun. Like, chain explosions in Project Zomboid. It's it's crazy. If you put the rarity for this item to super rare, then that'll be a really good choice in my opinion, because overpowered. And then one last demonstration, just because I wanted to put my PC to the test, and I legitimately thought it was gonna crash. It starts to like freeze for a minute, but it pulled through. It always does. And we get to see this. So I can only imagine this would look so much better on a computer. Just total carnage. This mod is awesome. 10 out of 10. Not balanced at all, but very fun. And that brings us to the final mod of this video, Trip and Fall. This is a really nice mod. It makes it so that your character has a chance to trip over zombie bodies that are on the ground. I feel like this is great, especially because it balances out Zombies Trip Zombies mod that was talked about earlier in the video. So really nice to play with these together, and really fun too. It makes it a little bit more fair also, and realistic, so I like it. Up first we have a collection of several different mods. Totally's Firearms Pack. We have Totally's Eastern Bloc, Totally's Allied World War II, and we have Totally's Axis World War II. We also have Totally's American Firearms. So that's 4 different packages, all made by the same mod creator. This includes a ton of historical firearms of all different shapes and sizes. I've laid them all out here, as you can see. There's a lot of variety you get here. Everything from the Cold War to World War II. I mean, pretty much like the most fan favorite weapons, I think, for any FPS game. I know I've seen several here in some of my favorite Battlefield games. For instance, we have the Fedorov Automat from Battlefield 1. Yeah, it didn't really get used like at all really in the war, but still pretty cool. Weirdly enough, it's in the Axis pack, but we also have the Carcano, which is another gun that I love from World War II. And we have some more fan favorites, the Browning Automatic, the Lee Enfield, the Thompson, M1 Carbine. We have the Luger, MG34, Suomi. If you like a gun and it's a historical firearm, it's probably in this pack. Chances are. I also had a very interesting glitch with the M1 Garand. As you can see here, it is very chonky. I don't know what did this. I'm pretty sure it was my fault, not the mods. I'm running about 100 plus mods, so it's definitely my fault. Up next we have the Rack Fix for Remastered Kitsune's Crossbow mod. This is just fixing a mod that already exists, the Remastered Kitsune's Crossbow mod. It had like a racking issue, would rack 2 bolts instead of 1, but I really like this one compared to the other simple crossbows variant because this has all the crossbows from the original included. That means you have the handmade metal, handmade wooden, scout crossbow, and you have the little hand crossbow. So I like to have all 4 options available. If you prefer just to have, 2 options, you can do simple crossbow instead. But I picked this, it has all of them, and it works great. I'm also not sure if these have like ricochet effect or if that's from a different mod maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but either way it looks like it ricocheted, which is pretty cool. Up next we have CJ Melee Weapons Lore Friendly Vanilla Expansion. This one is really awesome. It updates all of the models for pretty much every melee and kind of like tool item in the game. The models look really nice, especially the spiked baseball bat. I'm a big fan of how they updated that. The other one looked so cartoony. This one looks kind of more, a little grittier, more realistic. They also made a really nice axe, the wood axe and the fire axe, as well as the shovel, sledgehammers. Really all of them look so much better now. I'm a big fan of this one. You gotta try this mod out. It just adds a lot of flavor to the game. And look at that hammer, it looks so good. Up next we have a couple mods to show off. We have Goth Glasses, Goth Witch Hat, Hello Kitty backpacks, and the MF Doom mask. All of these clearly go together, right? I mean, who wouldn't rock all of these at the same time? I know Mr. Mod would. Also, the Hello Kitty backpack's really nice if you ever want to do a Kondo Tatsumi playthrough from the World War Z book by Max Brooks. Definitely recommend. Up next is a new favorite mod of mine, TB's Hawaiian Shirts pack. If you've been eyeing the shirt Mr. Mod's been wearing, the Mario Sunshine Star Hawaii shirt, this is where it came from, as well as many of these Hawaii shirts you see here displayed on the mannequins. I love this mod, there's a ton of variety, you gotta check this one out. And keeping with the clothing theme, our next two mods add several different military outfits from all different eras and countries. These mods are Fog's Totally Legit Surplus and Shark's Ready Prep Surplus. Both of these mods are great. They work fine together. There might be a little bit of redundancy, but if anything, you have more options that way. So I like it a lot. I definitely recommend trying it out if you're trying to do any kind of roleplay as a veteran, or perhaps you just like the look of some old camo. Either way, really nice. It adds tons of gear, and it looks pretty damn good too. And if you still aren't fatigued, you can add Shark and Peach's military uniform improvements for even more military clothing options. These mods all work great. Up next we have a very unique mod, Advanced Trajectories Realistic Overhaul. This is a complete overhaul of the mod Advanced Trajectory that you might have already seen, and this makes it kind of a mix of PZ's old RPG mechanics and your own skill, being your skill level in shooting and aiming, as well as whether you're crouching and some other environmental factors. So the main things added here are the need for the character to focus before you take your shots, so you need to time your shots a bit better and you need to aim more. Otherwise it's not going to be as accurate. Also, this makes your aiming better when you're crouching or standing still, because whenever you're moving, it's going to be a wider crosshair and it's not going to be as accurate. It's really nice because the crosshair changes in size to let you see how accurate, sort of visualization of how accurate your shot will be. And once, it's all the way out, it's going to be not accurate compared to all the way in. Additionally, the higher your level, the higher your accuracy and your critical chance. So level 0 to 2, you're going to be really bad. But then level 8, you're not even going to have a focus timer anymore. You're just going to be able to do headshots easily. So if you have any negative moodles, it'll also affect it. What's really nice about this mod is being able to aim directly at, where you want on the zombie, and be able to aim at a specific zombie. You couldn't really do that as easily before with the kind of selection system for the aiming in vanilla Zomboid. I think this works really great with True Crouch and True Crawl. They both are supported by the mod, and I use True Crouch a lot, so I had to do it. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video for some fun with landmines. Lots of fun with landmines. This next mod on the list is short and sweet, just like Mr. Mod's modeling career. 3D bandoliers. You like bandoliers? So do I. You like 3D things? Well, so do I. This combines it for us. Happy days, right? Now the bandoliers look way better, and not so flat and boring. The next mod on our list is a doozy. Blood sugar. That's right, this adds diabetes type 1 and 2 to the game. That's right, diabetes in the apocalypse. You thought this game was hard before? Imagine needing to manage your blood sugar and find insulin. At least it's not going to cost an arm and a leg, but you may have to take off an arm and a leg of a zombie to get to them. Either way, it's worthwhile, and health insurance has never been cheaper. So you can actively manage your blood sugar now, but it's going to take some work with your diet, or you're going to need to use the insulin, which can be injected using a syringe. You can also use test strips for your glucose monitor and a reusable Lancet so you can test your glucose levels, and you want to do that so you know where you're at before you waste your insulin. Now, I'm not sure why everywhere Mr. Mod goes, it becomes intensely foggy and very eerie, but maybe he's a ghost. Who knows? walking this mortal plane, forced to review mods for all time. Either way, he's here, and he has some more mods to show you. Albuterol Inhaler is the next one. If you have asthma, you might be familiar with this. It is just a normal inhaler. You prime it, and then you take the dose. It'll increase your endurance, so if you're exhausted from running or sprinting, it'll get rid of that immediately. It's really nice for asthmatic players because you can kind of do an RPG kind of element there, but otherwise it kind of is OP. Anything that can make you immediately not exhausted anymore is OP, in my opinion. So only use it carefully and, strategically for asthma purposes if you want to get the most out of it. Otherwise, if you just want to have fun with it, do your thing and run across all Kentucky nonstop, huffing on your inhaler. Longtime viewers of my mod showcases will recognize another monkey start scenario when they see one. This is monkey start scenario Dodge Caravan Nomad. I really like this. The Dodge Caravan looks great. There's no interior through RV interiors yet. I don't know if we'll ever get one. It probably shouldn't. It's kind of small, but it'd be cool if maybe we could put a tent on top one day. Either way, I really, really love it. It looks great with all the armor, all the gas cans on top. Really pretty model. Animated trunk and doors, windows, all that jazz. It's all there. Really nice. Another great mod. And this one just feels right for camping. I don't know about you guys, but this kind of car makes me feel like cracking open a cold one with the boys. And by boys, I mean plushies. And nothing goes with camping quite like a nice, juicy, fresh grilled hamburger. Well, unless you're vegan, of course. Then that would probably make you depressed. Any meat or animal, in fact. Especially when you got the trait. Looks like there's no getting out of this one, Mr. Mod. So this mod adds the vegetarian and vegan traits to the game. They give a mood debuff whenever you eat the food that they don't like. Pretty fun. I wish it, didn't let you do it though, but oh well. You can always just limit your player on your own. And the next mod on the list is Barricaded Start. This is an interesting mod here. You can either have it default for all players, regardless of if they take the trait or not, or you can have it standalone trait style. I do standalone trait, I like that way better, but it's up to you, to each their own. What this mod does is, your character, he's wise, he's a little bit privy to the danger afoot. He barricaded early, he didn't believe the BS, he didn't believe the containment BS, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna barricade, I'm gonna board myself in, like a shut-in, and that's safer. So he does that. And lo and behold, here he is barricaded. Every window, every door on your starting home will be barricaded. You will spawn with a little backpack full of these notebooks, which I thought was really cool. It'll show what food you have in the house. It'll have a little character diary, which is really, really nice. And you also have a damaged hammer, because you need a hammer in order to remove the barricade in order to get out. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for zombies to bust you out. I really like this mod. I think it's cool. It has a nice RP touch, if you want to do an early days scenario where your guy was the only one smart enough to stay inside or to board up. That would make sense. It's also really nice because if you're trying to do maybe like a sprinter's playthrough or something, and maybe you keep getting just destroyed immediately, this kind of gives you a little bit of protection at least. Granted, they're still going to find you probably and swarm your house, but you'll at least have a little bit of time to figure things out. Now the only caveat is there's only one way out, essentially. Unless you could help from zombies, every exterior window is boarded on the outside also. So only the front door will be unboarded on the outside. So you can only get out through the front door then. So good luck with that. And that brings us to the next mod on our list, one which I've wanted to discuss for quite a while, Copper State, Arizona. This is a really, really good map pack here. It brings Arizona to life using the desert tiles, and just everything about it feels so much different than the base game. I'm really, really excited to see where this map pack goes. It's only got like 2, I believe, cities right now. They're more towns, but they're kind of like Moldra, or not as big as West Point, but I would say more Rosewood sized. Between Rosewood and Moldra in size, probably. Farming communities, yada yada. One's more green than the other, one's less green. You also have some interesting starts. One, you can start in a prison cell. You'll be locked in. I have not tried that one. It sounds fun. I'm hoping to maybe do a series on this map sometime using the prison start. We'll see how that goes. But I want to take a moment to shout out the AMC Javelin mod, which is the vehicle we're driving right now. It's really nice, performs well, it looks great. The inside seating is got this cool pattern to it. It looks so retro, and I mean, I would love it in my car. I would love this as my car. It's pretty awesome, and you know, if you're gonna be styling around in the Zomboid apocalypse, you may as well do it in a Javelin. So here you see we're back at the prison in Copper State, Arizona. It looks similar a bit to the Rosewood prison, for instance the guard shack tower, but other than that it feels pretty unique. Just the desert vibe alone makes it feel completely different. And it's pretty large in size, pretty high population, looks like it'll be a bitch to clear, and even worse to start in. And this gives us a great chance to showcase our next mod, Goddamn Bathroom Zombies. Why is it named that? Well, it's pretty fitting. If you've been played this game at all, you might be familiar with a little bit of the meme of the Zomboid bathroom zombies. Well, this takes that up a bit. Now every tile in a bathroom has a 50% chance to spawn zombies on it. So as soon as the tiles load in, they're gonna spawn. Yeah, be careful. And one more thing I want to shout out about Copper State, Arizona map before we go is all these little like cool story things like here with this graffiti and everything. I'm not gonna trust Jim, that's for sure. Alright, I lied. One more thing about Copper State that is just freaking awesome. If you watched Fear the Walking Dead, you may be familiar with this. But here we have an airplane in the middle of the desert. Pretty awesome start. You're gonna really want to prioritize using all the items and equipment, anything you can salvage out of this plane, because you're in the middle of nowhere, in the desert. Not a lot of water, not a lot of resources, practically no wood. So I hope you have a saw on you. But if you do find yourself out in the wilderness without the equipment that you might have needed, such as nails, don't fret, because this next mod has got you covered. Thanks to the innovative mod Wooden Dowels, you can go old school with it and say screw nails, we're going all wood on this baby. That's right, using tree branches and a knife, screwdriver, saw, and a couple other items, you are able to craft wooden dowels, 2 per tree branch, in order to take the place of nails. There's going to be a whole separate crafting menu for carpentry to use, with dowels versus with the traditional nail. And I think this is an awesome mod. If you want to be like an outdoorsman who just never goes into town, you're never going to find nails. You can't even build yourself a cabin. That's sad. Now you can actually do it, nature only. Next up, we have the aptly named Improved Foraging Tooltip. And boy, is it an improvement. This gives you the live stat readout for everything affecting your foraging chance. This is really nice because it kind of gave me some insight onto what all does and doesn't affect things. And I don't know why this isn't vanilla. I guess like it would be a lot of information to have, but some of it seems nice to have. I would like to know, what my chances are, so I'm not just wasting my time, but to each their own. I like this mod. I'm gonna keep it. Next up we have the UH-60 helicopter for single player and multiplayer. This helicopter works really nice. It is a little glitchy though, but I think the fun factor makes up for it. You can use the QE to turn, and you can use WASD to kind of steer the angle you're facing. For the directional controls, you can use the arrow keys. This is a really fun vehicle to use. Like I said, it does glitch, like you can see through buildings. Sometimes you can fly through them, always, which is a shame, but I know the mod developer said he's working on it, and I'm sure it's not the easiest to fix either, so give it some time. In the meantime, it works. You can carry 4 passengers. It's pretty damn awesome. And it flies. You can control how high it goes. What's not to love? It also seems like it'd be perfect for like some role-playing scenarios, like, Walking Dead, or trying to escape, through a helicopter to get out of Louisville. Either way, this mod is one you gotta check out. It's also just nice for travel in general. And I also want to talk about Lake Cumberland. This is an awesome map pack. It is quite large, as you can see here, and it's very high population density, so this is kind of a better place for late game, maybe late game multiplayer specifically, or single player if you're just really up for a challenge and you want to wade through a heck ton of Zeds. There's certainly a lot here, and the lake itself is really beautifully laid out. It seems like it'd be perfect for using with the Autotsar yacht pack. And while Mr. Mod sets these up, let me give you a word of warning about landmines. They aren't activated only by zombies. Who would have thought it? I would never have guessed in a million years, but yes, any pressure on the pressure plate will set these landmines off, and these bad boys are gonna go. They're just itching for it, so you better watch your footing. Because I sure didn't. Granted, it could have ended up a lot worse. And I promised you all, if you stuck to the end, you'd get some fun with landmines, and here we are to deliver. As you see, we are spawning in a ludicrous number of zombies all around us, specifically as far away from me as I can place them. The reason for that is we're going to test out one more mod here, increase firearm sound range. A lot of these, make the game harder. I think that's a good thing. A lot of them make the game easier. That's a good thing too for some people. But for those of us who want it to be a lot harder, firearm sound range is a big thing that you can tweak. This mod gives you plus 25, plus 50, and plus 75 to the sound range. Right now I'm using plus 75. This means every zombie basically nearby is going to hear this thing. Just from one shot, 2 shots, that's all it takes. So we're going to put it to the test and let them run to the landmines and...
I'm in danger!
enjoy the show. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please comment below what your favorite mod was or what mod you want to see next. I would love to hear your thoughts. Up first, we're going to take a look at a mod that makes collecting resources a lot easier and more realistic. It's called Obvious Collecting. It's made by Braven, and Obvious Collecting lets you pick up items that you normally wouldn't be able to. As you can see here, you can pick up items you see on the ground, finally. No longer will you be tempted by those twigs that you just can't pick up. But for me, it's the stones, personally. This makes scavenging way easier and more immersive. So, it's kind of a trade-off. Would you like it to be more gamified? Because vanilla does that for you. Would you like it to be more immersive and pretty realistic? Obvious Collecting does that for you. Whether it's twigs, trash, cans, rocks, whatever it is, you can pick it up now, as long as you can see it. This mod's definitely worth checking out. And make sure to tweak anything you want in the sandbox options. This mod has a ton of different things you can change, so plenty of ways to tweak it just to your liking. Make sure to check this one out. And this goes for all the mods on this list, but links are in the description. Next up, we're going to take a look at a mod that overhauls the melee weapons in the game, making them more diverse, realistic, and fun to use. It's called Simple Overhaul Melee Weapons, or SOMW for short. This has easily become a must-have mod for me, so let's go ahead and check it out. SOMW is a global mod, which means it makes changes to the melee weapons in the game across the board, such as changing the balance from vanilla, updating weapon models and texture, and even adding some new weapons and some new craftable weapon recipes. So, one of the main features here is the models and textures. They look really, really good. They're really high quality, and in my opinion, they lean closer to realism than the vanilla models did. Not to mention they look really amazing just when you're using them in the game. It's really cool because the blood mapping will be individualized to, the correct spot on the weapon or tool, which we don't have in vanilla currently. This also adds a lot of new lore-friendly weapons. We have carpenter axes, we have camping hatchets, roofing axe, entrenching shovel, an ice axe. One of my favorites is the improvised metal axe using the shovel, because it looks fierce. You would not want to be on the receiving end of that thing. You also have some long and short tree branches, which you can kind of use as like day one weapons of last resort. Or maybe you're just crazy and you would like to do a tree branch only playthrough. Good luck. We also have aluminum baseball bats added, walking cranes for the blind, carving forks, hand files, butterfly knife, combat knife. My favorite, military machete, we'll get into that later. And so much more. You can find the full list in the mod description by following the link below. And a big feature that makes this melee weapon expansion stand out from other mods that I've showcased, like CJ's melee expansion, is this actually does change the mechanics of the weapons, specifically to things like short blade and short blunt objects. They weren't really that useful compared to all the other weapon categories beforehand. The risk was not worth the reward, so to speak. This kind of tweaks that. This makes the damage higher, and it makes it more viable to take the risk of using a short blade or a short blunt weapon. So now you can actually make use of all the weapons in the game, and they all feel much more balanced and like they have their own niche to fill, which I really enjoy. This also is great because it makes, well, this is a sub mod, you don't have to enable it, but I like it, so I recommend it. It's called Easy Spear Attachment. It comes with this, and it makes it so you can attach the spears easier. How nice is that? So what are you waiting for? If you want to spice up your melee combat in Project Zomboid, download SOMW now from the Steam Workshop. You will not be disappointed, and you're going to have a lot of fun messing around with all these new weapons being added. Next up, we have Monkey's Character Creation Loadout. This is a really nice mod. It's pretty simple. It's great for role-playing purposes, challenge purposes, anything like that. If you need to spawn with a certain weapon, this is going to be your best way to do it, most likely. This adds a couple new tabs, as you can see here, to the character creation screen, letting you start with a firearm of your choice, as much ammo as you choose, as well as a melee weapon of your choice. This is a really cool mod because it's multiplayer compatible, so you can put this on your server, let people spawn in with whatever starter pack they want. You can even limit how much ammunition they're able to spawn in, what the maximum is. So it's very customizable, and as you can see, modded items also show up, which is really, really nice. What can I say? Awesome mod. Go check this one out, you guys. The next mod on our list is Braven's Achievements. You can see that in the bottom right corner of the screen here, and those will be popping up throughout this whole series, so stay tuned for more. Next up, we're going to take a look at a mod that adds something that every zombie apocalypse survivor needs, a skateboard. Yeah, you heard me, a skateboard. The most efficient, reliable, and stylish way to travel in a world full of the undead. Thanks to this re-uploaded mod, we can now use the original skateboard mod in Build 41, without the game breaking. So, the skateboard mod adds a new vehicle, obviously a skateboard. You can find them in various locations, but the easiest way to spawn with one for sure is to get the other mod's skater trait and then use that character trait. You'll always spawn with one. Once you have the board, you can ride it by dropping it on the ground and pressing the E key just to get in any other vehicle. Occasionally your character will try to drive it like a car and sit down. It's really funny. I think that's a feature, not a bug personally, but each their own, right? The skateboard's a really fun and useful vehicle to use. It lets you go faster than walking, and it doesn't consume fuel, and it's not very noisy either. It's got a pretty reasonable weight, and it's really easy to carry it around with you. You can even hit zombies with it as a weapon of last resort. It has its own custom sound and animation, which is really nice in my opinion. Just stay away from the grass, I beg you. If you hit a zombie, a wall, or any other object, you will regret it. The skateboard giveth, and the skateboard taketh away. Amen. And lucky for us, we can use that skateboard to help demonstrate the next mod, Immersive Horror Overlays. This is a really, really cool mod that I've not seen one like this before in the game. It makes things a lot more realistic and terrifying. It adds several screen overlay effects, which will represent various status conditions like bleeding, pain, low health, and more. It's pretty simple but really effective mod because it makes the game feel way more immersive without really adding all that much. It's also really good to have a visual cue to when you're maybe near terminal damage or when you start bleeding heavy. It gives you that much more time to react. So as you can see, it adds bleeding. So whenever you start bleeding, the blood drops will gather all around the edges of your screen, slowly getting larger, and they'll grow in proportion to your bleeding. Same with pain. When you're in pain, you'll start to see a little white noise looking effect, and those pale spots will keep growing in proportion to the level of pain. It also adds a vignette effect, so whenever you are at the edge of death, like terminal, you kind of get tunnel vision, which I think it's really cool to see all of those combined at the same time. It really made for a more harrowing experience where you really know how close you are to the line. So what are you guys waiting for? Go try this one out. It adds a lot to the game. I also want to shout out the Louisville International Airport mod. This is a nice map pack. Whoever made the textures for these planes, I mean, they look great. I couldn't believe, too, that you can go inside them. I don't really know how to unlock all the doors, so I had to use no clip, but we have planes. How cool is that? I might, have to go make a base out of a plane now and live inside the cabin. It wouldn't be a bad way to do it, to be honest. You could be up in the sky away from the zombies, at least. Move those stairs out of the way and you're good to go. Alright, enough daydreaming. Back to the grind. Up next, we're going to take a look at a mod that adds some firepower to your weapons, literally. It's called Incendiary Ammo, and it's another awesome mod by Braven, who literally is making mods faster than I can even cover them in these videos. Incendiary Ammo is a mod that lets you turn any ammunition type that you would like into incendiary ammunition, meaning that it will set your targets on fire when you shoot them. That includes both zombies and players, so be careful who you're shooting at. By default, this makes shotgun shells into incendiary rounds, but you can customize it to be any ammo using the sandbox options, which is a really nice feature. It's a pretty simple mod, really fun and satisfying, and it makes for a bit more dynamic combat and way more chaotic combat too. Overall, this is definitely one to check out. I mean, do I even have to explain this one? Very nice, but not gonna lie, I miss the banjo still. There's also an alternate version without the eagle if you don't like, America. Next up is Zombrex, just like from Dead Rising. This is awesome. If you liked the They Knew mod, you might like this even more. I certainly do. The reason why, Zombrex is only temporary. It's not a permanent fix to zombification. If you get bitten, you're going to have to spend the rest of your days hunting down as much Zombrex as you can find. I think this is an awesome mechanic. It makes a bite not the end of the world, as long as you can find Zombrex. Next up is Zombomb. This adds a new type of zombie to the game that will explode upon contact, so don't get too close. They have a certain look and a certain noise, so you can identify them. I love this mod because it reminds me of Left 4 Dead zombies, and who doesn't want some boomers, right? Next up we have Multi-Hit Limiter. This mod allows you to configure multi-hit in the sandbox settings. Multi-hit is the feature that lets you hit more than one zombie with a single attack, and this lets you change it so it's dependent upon your weapon, your skill level, or your range. This is really useful when you're surrounded, but it can also make the game too easy, so that's why Multi-Hit Limiter is really nice, because you can tweak to your heart's content and find your ideal multi-hit acceptability. So this changes things, so right now I'm using two-handed only, which means I will only be able to push zombies and hit them with two-handed weapons, and those are the ones that have multi-hit. Everything else, like the knife, is only single hit, as you can see here. This is really great because you can really get into the weeds here, and I have it right now just on a pretty basic setting. Only long blunt and long blade weapons that are two-handed will have multi-hit. Everything else won't. This mod is also safe to add or remove mid-game, and it should be compatible with multiplayer as well. So what do you think of this? Do you like the idea of limiting multi-hit, or do you prefer keeping it to the way vanilla handles things? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Next up we have a very cool mod called Game Night. This is not something I thought we'd be able to do in Project Zomboid ever, but as you can see here, I'm able to play an entire game of Settlers of Catan if I wanted to. I could play an entire game of Monopoly or Backgammon, and there's a whole bunch more. And it's a framework, so anybody, if you know how to make mods, you can take this framework and then build out a game. That's pretty damn cool. This is quite impressive, like I said. You have everything here. It's got its own UI system. The boards are interactive. As you look, the board itself in the UI, what happens there, it replicates that in the real world. As you can see at Mr. Mod's feet, all the parts and game pieces are out on the board. It's really cool. The only thing you can't do so far is flip the table when you get upset. Hopefully we get an update with that eventually. But, I mean, this is awesome. This is going to be perfect for if you have a multiplayer server and you want to play Monopoly, Catan, whatever, Really cool idea, and it executed flawlessly. So, my hat off to you, sir. This next mod pairs very well with Game Night, Hanabi's Foods. This adds name brand cereal, candies, and chips to the game. It sounds like it's not that big. It made a huge difference for me being able to make Mr. Mod eat Cheeto Puffs. Come on, that's a dream come true. Now I can make him have a Cheeto-only diet, and that's feasible. 10 out of 10 mod. Definitely recommend it. And the final mod for this review is Greenhouse Building Set. I really enjoyed this mod. The greenhouses look really nice. Just super clean design. You make the glass panels by putting broken glass in a roasting pan and putting them in the oven. And then once you have enough glass panels and you have all the other required items, you can go ahead and build your frames. And You put them all up, build whatever shape greenhouse your heart desires, and add a roof. Boom, you have a functional greenhouse. It doesn't, make the crops grow any quicker, but it sure looks nice, doesn't it? And that's more than 50% of the battle. I want to thank you guys for making it this far. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really had a great time making it. Make sure to leave a comment below. What was your favorite mod? What mod do you want to see next? Any other thoughts, opinions? I would love to see them, And if you leave a mod that you suggest, I might just put it in the next video. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Take it easy, everybody. Gecko out.